Hello Aquarius, and welcome to your reading. This is Bright Soul Collective Tarot. My name is Laura, and these will be your intuitive insights and advice for the month of August 2022. This reading will be for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So by all means, if you know your three major placements and you feel so inclined, you can listen to any and all of the readings that apply to you, as each one of them may resonate differently, and there might be little nuggets of wisdom in there for you. And as always, do keep in mind, all of these readings are general in nature. They are meant to apply to a more broad collective of individuals. So that means that not all of the details that come through will necessarily apply to you. That's why I do highly recommend you take anything and everything that does resonate, however that makes sense for your situation, whatever connections that might inspire from your point of view. Keep an open mind to anything that might be helpful, and you can simply leave the rest. So Aquarius, I hope you're all doing well. Happy August. I hope you're having an amazing summer so far, and I am super excited to be here connecting with you today and take a look and see what August has in store for you guys. Thank you for being here and sharing this time and space with me. I am especially excited because this month I decided to, like in the spirit of Leo season, throw the structure of my usual readings right out the door. We're doing something completely different. So instead of like an energetic check-in and possible block and like a solution to overcome, we're actually going to be using this reading as a pep talk from the universe of sorts. So Leo's energy is very much about pep talks and gassing people up and helping people realize their worth, and we can all use a good pep talk. So I'm super excited. We're going to be focusing on your strengths, your energy that's being highlighted, what you need to know about yourself, your situation, any advice that will help you make the best of it. So really, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a little less structured, a little bit more intuitive, so there might be some more jumping around than usual, but I think it'll be a good time. And again, to shift things up, I do have channeled messages for you guys that I sat down to connect with before starting this recording. But instead of doing my usual thing and sharing that with you at the beginning, I am actually going to jump right into your cards. We'll get into the heart of your reading, and I'm going to save your channeled messages for after we've covered your tarot in depth. And then, so we'll do the tarot, we'll do your channeled messages, and then I'll finish off with a couple of affirmations and an oracle card to tie everything together and give you some final advice to kind of help you navigate this month. So with that being said, I will share with you the energetic impression that I got while I was preparing for your reading and connecting to your energy. I really liked what I was picking up on. It had a very motivated and inspired feeling to it. So it's kind of like maybe there's a specific goal, something that you're excited about. You're focused on, just kind of, you got the energy behind the action to kind of get you where you need to go. And maybe you're feeling like kind of that self-sustaining. But the sense that I got is that you might be kind of at odds. So your energy, your motivation, your inspiration is there and it's feeling good, but I kind of got the sense that might not be translating. So if you are taking action, like maybe things aren't going smoothly, maybe things aren't working out, maybe you could be a little clumsy, maybe things just aren't. The inspiration and the action might be there, but it might not be translating into the kind of results that you want. It might not look as pretty as you expect, but not to say that you're not going to make strides this month, but it's just like, it's just to recognize that spark is there and you're acting on it, but it just might not be materializing or working out in the way that you expect it to, which is totally okay. I don't get the sense that there's a major block there. So I also got a sense that there might be a specific focus on family. So your family, or perhaps if you already have a family, you have like a marriage, children of your own, that might be a main area of focus. Or if that's something that you're currently working toward, you might really be doing a lot of thinking and assessing. But I got the sense that like family is really key. It might be a major motivator. So that's something to keep in mind. And the last thing that I will say is I did like the majority of your reading prep earlier, and then I came and sat back down to reconnect now that I have some time to record. And just as I finished connecting to your energy and I was ready to start the reading, I actually got, for a short period of time, a really bad earache. I am not someone who's ever had an earache. I've never had ear problems. And the way that it's kind of like a sharp pain in my ear. And the only way that I can describe it, because I haven't had like an ear infection or anything like that, is like the pain that you feel in your ears when you swim to the bottom of a really deep pool. So I would associate it with that kind of pain, without the pressure, like without the pressure that you would feel being that deep underwater. And I only had it in my right ear. So I don't know if maybe you have some kind of connection to that. It might be something to keep in mind and watch out for. It might just be like a sign for you. Sometimes I get like ringing in my ears, or like one ear will kind of like have muted sound, and I usually take that as like a sign that like it's a more intuitive sign that there's something I need to pay attention to. So that could be for you, I don't know. But we'll get right into your cards. So your oracle card for this month is Higher Power, which is super, super cool. And the reason that it's cool is that this isn't just like your advice for this month or like your general kind of vibe of the month. This card actually specifically represents your strength this month, the energy that's highlighted, the gift or the blessing that has been kind of bestowed upon you, so that you can kind of use that to your advantage if it's something that you're interested in connecting with. And I love that Higher Power came through, because there's this open-ended, kind of hopeful lack of tangibility that goes hand in hand with this. It is a more spiritual, a more kind of connected energy. So I will preface this by saying that you don't necessarily, if you're watching a tarot video, then maybe you, even if you aren't particularly spiritual, maybe you at least have like some kind of interest, some kind of inclination. But I will say that you don't have to be deeply spiritual. You don't have to believe in like, your intuition. You don't have to be deeply connected to it, or to believe in angels and spirit guides or signs and synchronicities and all that kind of stuff. Like you don't have to be deeply connected to that. And I don't want to say believe in it, because it's a thing whether you believe in it or not, but you don't have to have like a really deep connection to or interest in that in order to be able to connect with this energy and benefit from it this month. So I will say that if you are somebody who's more on the spiritual side, if you do pay a little bit more attention to like intuition, that kind of significant stuff that goes on in your life, if you are a little bit more tuned in that sense, this month is going to be really, really beautiful for you, continuing to develop your relationship to that, develop your relationship to spirit, your highest self, your inner wisdom, and to continue kind of refining that, but also to be able to benefit from it. And if you're somebody who is maybe a little bit newer, less connected, maybe you are still kind of working, or maybe you're totally skeptical about having any kind of spiritual gifts or sensitivities, I would say that if you can keep an open mind and approach this month and the things that you experience and that you're picking up on with curiosity, you might be surprised to see that things are actually falling into place to help you realize that there is something there. I would not be surprised if you guys have spiritual gifts, like whether that be sensitivities in terms of any or all of the clairs, like a psychic awareness, but that is very much highlighted this month. So if you've already got it kind of going on, this is going to be a really, really good month for you to continue developing that, maybe maybe refine that, maybe figure out how to incorporate more of that, or how to use that a little bit more in your daily life. It could just be on an empowerment level. And as I said, if you're somebody who's new to it, or maybe you're a little bit unsure, it's a good time to connect, because I get the sense that this could be something that's like a long time coming. Like you could have a lot of gifts, you could have a lot of sensitivities, and your spirit guides might have been trying to guide you in this direction and connect you with that energy and that awareness, and perhaps even people that can help you recognize that in yourself, and that can kind of nurture that in you and connect you with resources and insight that will help you, because it's kind of like there's so much intuitive information, there's so much information available to you that is beyond what we can simply grasp in the most basic, practical, logical way, you know, like like in the world of the unseen, because although we are humans having a human experience, we have a physical body, but our soul is energy. It's connected to everything. And so there are a lot less limitations than we are led to believe just based on our purely physical existence. So if you have an interest in maybe expanding your horizons a little bit in terms of maybe the more like esoteric kind of stuff, you might find that this is a really good month to do that. And so the thing that I really love about this is that I think it has the opportunity to bring you to a deeper level of understanding and trust with yourself. So if you're skeptical about spirituality, it might be because you're skeptical of your ability to connect, or you might be skeptical that the things that you pick up on, or the sensitivities that you seem to have, the things that you seem to know, however you connect to that kind of intuitive information, you might doubt yourself, and you might doubt that that's possible or that's a thing. And you might even kind of gaslight yourself and be like, no, like, that's crazy, you know, because it's like, there's no way that I could know this. I have no way to prove it. There's no logical or empirical evidence that I have that would suggest that I'm right, so I can't be right. And I would challenge you to counter that with saying, like, what if I am right? Because a lot of times, so they say like intuition whispers. So the trouble can be that sense of inner knowing, those gut feelings, those things that we just kind of pick up on, and it feels right, or we feel like we know without being able to understand why. Those generally come to us in a more subtle but kind of visceral way. So they can be really easy to overlook or to ignore or to explain away. And a lot of times it's difficult to become aware of our intuitive nudges unless we take the time to sit, you know, in quiet, you know, in prayer, in contemplation, in meditation. You know, we kind of disconnect from the hustle and bustle around us. We disconnect from our thoughts and our judgments. And we allow ourselves to check in with ourselves just on the most basic level and say, like, energetically, like, what's happening? What do I feel? Why might that be? And so that's the thing, is like, everybody has the opportunity to connect their intuition and any and all spiritual gifts. Some are more highlighted than others for certain individuals. But I would say that most times people will tell stories about like having intuition, and it's like scary. Like those people that, you know, they just get this sense that, you know, they can't leave on their trip, and so they don't show up for their flight, and then the plane crashes. And like that kind of weird intuition, they may not know why, they may not know what's happening, but it ends up paying off for them, right? So we hear about those really like major kind of stories, and it's kind of like intuition may you know, we still have to pay attention to it. It still may whisper, but it may be more obvious. And so the thing is, it's like sometimes we don't actually pay attention to our intuition until it's like, you know, the universe or our guides or our life situation is giving us no choice. So it's like we're not tapped in and we're not aware of it on a regular basis, but it's like the message becomes strong enough that it breaks through, and we have no choice but to kind of acknowledge that, you know, at least it could be a thing. But the most time we might just be tuned out from it. And so it's recognizing that this is a relationship that you can foster with yourself. And it very much is a spiritual practice of like learning yourself, learning how you receive information, learning what you're sensitive to, and kind of developing a little bit of self-trust. So I would say particularly anything that strikes you is like your ability to read people, right? If you're in situations and you can kind of sense what people are thinking or feeling, maybe you know what they're going to say before they say it. Maybe you get the impression that they feel a certain way about you, either positive or negative. And it's like, it's not in an over-analysis kind of way where you're looking and judging and trying to figure out how to make yourself feel more comfortable. It's not a personal thing, it's more observational. These are impressions that you get. They're not things that are attached to your fears or insecurities or that are going to be disempowering. It's just a lot of the time it's information. So it can be difficult to tell the difference between our thoughts, you know, our thoughts, our judgments, our beliefs, hearing or telling ourselves what we want to hear and actually picking up on what's going on. So it's kind of, you may find that it's a little bit easier for you to separate yourself from like your feelings, your thoughts, your beliefs, the things that you are hoping for, and just the information that you're picking up that is impacting you in some way. It could be through the senses, it could be emotionally, that you're feeling angry, or you sense somebody else's anger, even if you're not in contact with them and you have no way to explain how or why, that kind of thing. This is also about paying attention to anyone that you feel particularly connected to. If you do have any kind of sensitivity, if there's somebody, like for example, they say like if somebody is often on your mind or they come to mind a lot, that often they're thinking of you. So if you experience something like that, that could very well be a sign, and it might be something that it's easy for you to just be like, oh, I just think about that person and it's stupid, or maybe there's unfinished business. It could be, but a lot of the time, like I said, we kind of try to explain away those things that can very well be significant in terms of our connection. Because this is saying like there's likely at least one person in your life that you have a deep spiritual connection to. There's probably a lot of shared thoughts and feelings. There might be a psychic connection, being able to kind of, without being able to prove it or to have any explanation as to why, kind of like knowing how this person feels about you, or like having a sense that there's a deeper level of connection. And then also recognizing any desire that you have to connect on a more spiritual level, to learn more about yourself, to kind of delve into that world of intuition. Everything is going to be highlighted. So the thing is, if you can remain open to it, the signs, the synchronicities, the things that you're picking up on and what that's trying to tell you, those things are like little, what did I say in a past reading? They're kind of like little breadcrumbs to help validate you as you go along your path, to help nudge you and encourage you in the right direction, the one that's going to be most aligned for you. So there's a lot of love, there's a lot of support available to you guys, and there's a lot of information beyond just the purely obvious physical kind of stuff that is available to you to take into consideration when you're making your decisions in terms of what you want out of life, what's right for you, who's the right kind of person for you to surround yourself with, right? And what it is that you're trying to create for yourself, especially if you've got spiritual inclinations and you're afraid to kind of lean into it or create more room for that in your life, right? So that's kind of interesting. So I thought I got 3 cards, and it turns out there's actually a whole pile of them that were all hidden together. So I'm just going to restart. We'll get you some tarot. And this is going to be a little bit different. I'm just going to pull a bunch of cards and we're going to do a big open read. So it might get a little chaotic, bear with me, but I like the idea of just no structure and see what kind of extra connections can be made. So your first card is the Wheel, which the Wheel of Fortune and like connecting with your fate and destiny, it requires a level of keeping yourself in balance, maintaining your center, and self-trust, trust in yourself and trust in the universe, to kind of like be open to whatever comes your way and whatever those learning experiences are going to be. So it's like you have to kind of be tapped into your higher power and open to receiving support so that you can be this, she's like an antenna, right, for like blessings and for experiences, and trusting that by approaching life with curiosity and taking inspired action, and allowing herself to see what comes, she'll be willing to have the types of experiences and meet the types of people that are going to ultimately help her along her path. So there might be a lot of things that come into an alignment. There might be like synchronicities, like synchronistic meeting of people from your past, maybe new people, maybe like connecting with new opportunities, whatever it is that you're working toward or you're trying to kind of manifest, that might be particularly highlighted as well, where it's just like you kind of get an inkling and you're proven right, or yeah, so it's kind of like being willing to kind of discover what where your heart and where your guides, where your intuition is trying to lead you. Okay, so yeah, we've got the Wheel, we've got the Ace of Cups, and the Nine of Wands, and at the bottom of the deck we have the Strength card. Strength is the Leo card. We're in Leo season, so this might just be highlighting the fact that this is a really good season. This is a good month for you to be focusing on this and connecting with your inner strength, or you could have a connection to a Leo specifically. There's the infinity symbol on the arm, which kind of highlights, interconnected cycles, soulmates being connected, the law of cause and effect, karma, what you put out comes back to you. And so it kind of just highlights the importance of connecting to your higher power and partnering with spirit and with your guides to live a life that is going to let you make the most of your energy, is what I'll say. So we are going to clarify all these cards and do a big open read. So the Chariot clarifies the Wheel. Chariot is Cancer. You could be dealing with the Cancer. It's water energy. We just came out of Cancer season. Okay, so we'll clarify the Ace of Cups. Okay, sorry. Some of these cards have really just been taking a while in my previous readings. Okay, Ace of Cups is clarified by the Four of Swords, and we'll clarify the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is clarified by the Three of Pentacles. Oh, with the Nine of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So we've got the Nine of Wands and Strength showing up in the underlying kind of like past energy, and the Nine of Wands is also kind of like in your current energy as well. So this is a theme that may have inspired some kind of action or realization, but that energy is still kind of it's currently with you. It might be I don't know. Nine of Wands always always occurs to me as like a bit of a challenge, but so this is all fire energy. It's connected to your passion, your creativity, what inspires you, what excites you, what lights you up and motivates you to kind of blaze your own trail through the world in a way that's going to be meaningful to you. And so it's really interesting because strength is all about, having the confidence in yourself, having courage to be yourself, to do what is right for you, to show up authentically, and to recognize that sometimes strength comes through in, just demonstrating kindness and compassion and love and understanding to yourself and others. Sometimes, so that's the strength always comes from that place. It's just sometimes it's more demonstrative. Sometimes it's more like externally focused. It has to be a little bit hard or aggressive and setting boundaries and like not taking shit from people. But it's also like, so it's like the lion and the lamb in conjunction, right? And trusting yourself to know when to be kind and gentle and loving with yourself, and when you need to kind of stand your ground and get a little bit feisty and go after what you want. And so it's recognizing that how you take action, how you think and feel about yourself, and the feelings and those beliefs that motivate you to take action in the world, that is what's inspiring the direction that you're moving in. Whatever you're putting out is whatever you get back. And so it's kind of like ensuring that it's rooted in love and kindness and compassion for yourself, because that's what allows you to be truly strong. Because strength is vulnerability, right? To be able to be vulnerable, to be able to be yourself without fear or judgment or worry about what other people think, that's what makes you a courageous and strong person. So you might be re-establishing your ideas of strength. And especially with the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands also gives me a very defensive kind of vibe. Like you're not particularly safe, right? Like you have to pay attention to like what you say around certain people, or kind of have walls or your guard up a little bit, because you don't know if someone's going to judge you. You don't know if someone's going to come after you. And so it's like the sense of you kind of have to watch your back and be protective of yourself. And the trouble with that is that not only does that indicate, hey, it's not safe for you to be authentic and to do your own thing and to shine your own light, because someone might come after you. But also, if you're busy watching your back, you're looking behind you and you're more focused on what could come, like the ways that you might be unsafe, rather than focusing on what's ahead of you and the resources that you have to work with and what steps you want to take to connect more with your passion. So yeah, you might be reframing your idea about what strength is, and maybe instead of strength being like, a stiff upper lip and a hardworking person, and somebody who just kind of like lives life inside the box, plays by the rules, and does things in a really logical way, there might be a lot of defensiveness built up based on expectations that you have of yourself to be a strong person. And you might be coming into an understanding that your strength is actually like the soft, vulnerable, loving parts of you, and to be able to appreciate and connect with those, to benefit from those yourself, and to openly express those softer sides of you confidently. It's like, that's going to absolutely change your life. That's going to take those walls down, and it's going to set you up for deeper connections. So yeah, and so with the Nine of Wands showing up here, this might be something that you're still dealing with. There might be someone or something that you've got your walls up to, that you're afraid of like fully letting your guard down and either moving away from them or moving forward with them. It could be a person. So I'm just going to talk about this first, because you can see she's looking back, and it's kind of like a little bit shifty. Like, I don't quite trust my surroundings. I don't know if I quite trust the people. And often that comes from feeling as though maybe the people that are around you, or the situations that you're in, don't really align with who you are and what you value. And so what I would say is, if there's a lack of alignment between who you are and what you value, what inspires you and motivates you and what you enjoy in life, and what other people around you enjoy, then yeah, you're going to feel disconnected, and it's going to feel unsafe to really embrace that authentic energy and step into it. Because with it being with the Three of Pentacles, this could be in a work environment also, because the Three of Pentacles is a card of like collaboration and recognizing that, there's strength in numbers, and everybody has their kind of their skills to offer, and we need to work together. A lot of times we're more successful working toward our goals in conjunction with other people, and allowing ourselves to give and receive and work in harmony oftentimes brings us toward our goals more quickly. And the thing is, like, the end goal might be a certain thing, but each person who's participating in getting to that end goal is bringing something different to the table, and probably getting something different out of that experience. They're learning and growing in their own way. And so the Nine of Wands and the Three of Pentacles, it's like, it may be difficult for you to connect with people and to collaborate and to accept or appreciate what they have to offer, or even what you have to offer. And so there might be a certain amount of like self-protection and defensiveness and putting walls up, because you're afraid that the people that you're around, or the people that you work with, or even the people that you're building a life with, because this can be, working your way toward financial and material abundance, like home and family life. It's kind of like tending to the garden and doing that work to kind of set yourself up for receiving a bountiful harvest, right? And so yeah, so it could be people that you're living with or working with in some kind of like practical way, something that's connected to your material existence, that either you're afraid of being yourself, because you're afraid that you won't be well received, or perhaps your personality and who you truly are doesn't mesh with the culture or the environment or the approach that's being taken to date. So I think that I would say that's just a fear, right? So I'd say, like, whatever it is that's causing you to kind of keep your distance, I think you're going to get clarity on what's coming from a place of fear and insecurity, and what is simply coming from an acknowledgement that, hey, if I want to be more of myself and step more into my authenticity, I have to recognize like who connects on that level, who feels safe authentically. And if the people and the situations that I'm around don't feel safe, because I don't feel like I could really truly be myself, then do I really want to be spending all of my time and energy in this environment? Right? Because it's like, are you going to commit to being a version of yourself that's acceptable to this specific group of people or the specific person? Or are you going to allow yourself to venture into deeper into who you are and expand your horizons in a sense, and to connect with people that have the same kind of outlook, right? So it's kind of like this might be kind of like a journey of self-discovery, right? Because it's like being near the end of the path and taking a look back and being like, wow, okay, so I don't feel particularly safe. Things don't feel particularly aligned. Maybe you're trying to overcome that still. So I would say that your intuition, your gut instincts, the information and the things that you're picking up from the people and things around you, in addition to what's truly calling to you on a soul level, like what feels right, what feels exciting, what feels aligned, who are the people that you think about and that you want to spend your time with, who feels like somebody that you could talk about anything with, right? So it's like finding your safe people. That is going to be an intuitive thing, right? It's not something that you can do. You can't really mask over it for the sake of being like practical or logical. It's something that you're going to feel, and since your connection to your higher power and that awareness is going to be highlighted, it's going to be a lot easier for you to make sense of what it is that you're feeling and what's got your guard up and how you want to move forward, right? Especially because there is an opportunity to collaborate with people that are like-minded and work toward a tangible manifestation or goal that's going to be something, abundant and beneficial to you. And I will say that this could have to do, like, obviously I've been talking about work, but this could also have to do with love and romantic relationships, because with the Ace of Cups here, the Ace of Cups is an opportunity to connect with a deeper and more meaningful level of love and joy and happiness, connection and fulfillment, right? So it's kind of like the intro to soulmate energy. So it's recognizing that when you learn to love and accept yourself truly and wholly, for everything that you are, when you honor yourself and your authenticity, and you're willing to give yourself the opportunity to express that openly and to connect with energies that align with what feels best to you, you step into a deeper level of connection and love for yourself, which makes you apt to be, an equal and loving partner in a very, very, I don't want to say healthy, but a very like deep connection spiritually. So that could be a soulmate connection with friends, but a lot of times cups, it is connected to romance and romantic love. So if that makes sense to you, but this is basically an opportunity. So you might have an opportunity to connect with a potential romantic partner, maybe somebody that makes it easier for you to love yourself. And this is like a very self-sufficient kind of energy. It's like when you love and respect yourself and you take care of yourself and you are accountable for your health and happiness and the things that you need to do, you attract somebody who's also in that space. And when you get two healthy people who are aware of their limitations, who are doing their inner work, who take responsibility for their well-being and can be happy and love themselves as they are, they can offer so much more to each other, because it's not, they're both showing up with full cups. They're not showing up with an empty cup and saying like, pour all of your love and time and attention into me and make me feel better and worthy, right? Or vice versa. So there can be a really even mutual exchange, and there's an opportunity for a huge amount of spiritual growth. And so for that to come up with the Four of Swords, either this is an opportunity that's presented itself in the past, and it didn't quite pan out, because the Four of Swords is a card of rest and recuperation. It's generally isolation. So there's a lack of connection, a lack of communication. It's more like being solitary in your own energy and usually like recovering from something. So it can be recovering physically, mentally, emotionally, perhaps trying to get yourself in the right space. So it's like there could have been like distance between yourself and an opportunity that you felt. So this doesn't have to be a person or a relationship. This can also be just an opportunity to connect with something that brings you a lot of happiness and joy, and that you've maybe been removed from. So either avoidantly removed from, because sometimes we kind of sabotage our opportunities for happiness if we're not quite ready to receive, or it could just be situational, that you were blocked, or you needed to do a little bit of work on yourself and to take some time to rest and reflect. But yeah, so it's like there's this opportunity here, and I think that there might still be healing that's going on, but it's recognizing that if you are healing and you are trying to get clear on like what your happily ever after looks like, your intuitive nudges are going to help take you in the right direction, but you also can't block yourself from opportunities for love and happiness just because you're healing and doing your inner work, right? So it's like you can still experience love and joy and happiness. You can still connect with people, because a lot of times it's connecting with that energy that helps us to heal, right? So it's like you don't have to avoid all matters of the heart and all things related to love just because you're healing or you're feeling a little bit isolated, right? So it's like you still deserve to experience those things. So there's some kind of opportunity here. You just might be closed off to it, or you might be kind of taking your time connecting to it. But I would say like whatever that is, it's yours, and it seems promising. And like I was saying, you kind of have to be willing to take a leap, right? So it's like if you can get into alignment and pay attention to what your intuition is telling you, pay attention to the things that feel good, that your soul is calling you to do, the people your soul is calling you to connect with. And if you allow yourself to take that as valid information, the stuff that this like higher power, this higher connection is helping you to realize, if you can trust that and just take action inspired by that, you set the wheel in motion, because you say, hey, I recognize there's more than meets the eye, and I'm willing to connect with more opportunities that are going to be beneficial for me. So it's like you kind of have to take the first step, set the wheel in motion, and you've got to trust yourself to be able to kind of maintain your center, keep your balance, right, between thoughts and feelings and fears and overanalysis, and just to be able to kind of, take time to meditate and check in with yourself so that you can receive that intuitive information that's available to you, and so that you can be open to your life's experiences, and the people, places, situations, and opportunities that present themselves, knowing that when you're taking inspired action from an intuitive place, you can't be steered wrong, and whatever you encounter, whatever kind of experience you have, is best for your soul's growth. And it'll kind of keep you on that path where you're allowing life to kind of flow and things to line up for you, instead of assuming that you have to have some kind of plan and have to have everything all figured out and basically like manhandle your way and make it happen. This is trusting, like when I'm in a space of self-trust and I'm receiving this intuitive guidance and connecting with my higher power, things fall into place for me even better than I can imagine. And for that to come up with a Chariot, it's basically saying like, if you can maintain that balance, it's like, if you know what it is that you're headed toward, or you have an idea of what that feels like, you might find that just taking that first step and allowing yourself to connect with it, things really take off really quickly. And you end up, either your situation or your circumstances can change really quickly, your relationships might be impacted really quickly, your personal growth might kind of take off. Like you might be surprised how quickly that starts to manifest in your external reality, and you start to be able to reap the benefits of whatever your intuitive wisdom is trying to take you toward. Because the Chariot is about fast movement and confident movement, right? It's like a race. So it's going, right? And so she knows that all she can do is her best to keep these horses on track. But she also knows at the end of the day, horses are horses, right? She doesn't have control over the entire situation or how they'll behave or how they'll react. She knows that it's not up to her and it's not entirely in her hands, and all she can do is be a confident driver, right? So it's like she's doing whatever she can, and she's confident in her ability to manage these horses, and she knows that the rest is kind of up to the cooperation of the horses, the universe, the other people around you. So there's a huge amount of, if you can be confident in charging toward what you want and what's important to you, and trusting that things will fall into place. And if they don't, or if things crumble down, it's because they're meant to. But yeah, there's an opportunity for forward movement. So there might be some stagnant energy or issues or questions that have been lingering for some time, and I feel like this connection to your higher power might be helping you get a little bit more clarity about what's right for you, and feel inspired and empowered to to move toward that, which I think is really good. And it could be reflected in love and relationships, work and money, all of the above. But yeah, and I think maybe you'll find that like that this guard, this wall, this feeling of being unsafe is not serving you, and you're going to find some people that you can connect with and that will help you to continue to connect with your authenticity and show up in your authentic energy, however that looks to you. So I will quickly share your channeled messages before I get into your affirmations. So the first message that came through for you was Time to Say Goodbye, which is a song Andrea Bocelli. So it's like, I think the original version is like almost entirely in Italian. I would give the song a listen and definitely Google the lyrics and find the version that's translated into English or whatever language you're fluent in, and just take a look and see if that poses any significance, if there are any specific connections. You may already know or have a connection to the song. But yeah, and then it's kind of like suffering the sorrow of loss, particularly of like loss of a love. So it's like whether it's loss forever, like you're never going to get back together, or maybe loss in terms of death or whatever the case may be. But it's kind of like that sorrow that goes along with the part of yourself that's missing as a result of not having a connection to somebody who's meaningful to you. So it could be that you've said goodbye to somebody and you're mourning that. It could be there's someone you need to say goodbye to. It could be somebody that you've been disconnected from that you're really longing to connect with, and it's like you have to make a decision, like, are you going to reconnect with this person, or are you going to like just let it go? But it's kind of, there's something there, like it's not an easy thing. So yeah, I don't know how that might apply. Your next message was opening new doors. So I got the sense of like embracing ending and letting go of things that are old and tired, no longer aligned, that might potentially be holding you back or that aren't serving you anymore. And it's like endings are a little bit easier to process, and it's easier to let things go when you have excitement about the new opportunities and the new energy, the new people and places and things that you might be able to connect with. So it's kind of like if there's something or someone that's kind of on its way out, and that's a little bit difficult to navigate. It's like remembering that, you know, when one door closes, another one opens. We have to graciously allow cycles to end in order to connect with new energy, but there always is something new. So as long as you want to get out there and experience something new, you're always going to be able to do that. And having excitement and knowing that you deserve to move in the direction of your highest good can help to embrace the endings. And so you may have already processed some endings and been in like a transitional space, and now you're ready to start opening new doors and see what aligns. So to be excited for new opportunities and experiences. And then finally, your last message was, why do I always do this? And so it's like questioning yourself. So the sense that I got is coming to a realization that there are certain habits or like unconscious knee-jerk reactions that you have, beliefs that you have, things that you say or you tell yourself or you do that are not really aligned with what you value and how you really feel. So it's kind of like coming to the realization that sometimes what you say and think and do isn't actually in alignment with what you want. So there can be like, it can be inspired by fear, it can be like a self-sabotage type thing. But I think the most important part about this, why do I always do this, is the fact that you're asking the question. If you're asking yourself that question, it means that you have some level of awareness that you're doing something that isn't aligned, that isn't right for you, and to investigate why. So there's definitely a really great opportunity for growth there and for you to move in a direction that's more aligned. So I will get you your affirmations, and then we'll finish off with the final oracle cards for this month. Okay, your first affirmation is, I am in perfect balance, which is very interesting because these first two cards are all about balance. So it's trusting yourself, and you have to kind of find your inner balance and have that kind of safe space to be able to find your center in order to connect to this higher power, this higher wisdom, excuse me, and to trust yourself to determine what that means for you and what direction that's excuse me, ultimately going to take you in. Sorry, I just dropped your cards. And you actually got a bonus affirmation, so there's 2 more. I am safe in the universe. All life loves and supports me. So I think it's this sense of safety, right? Especially if you're feeling a little bit defensive. It can take strength and courage to be vulnerable enough to trust that you are safe and that you are held, and that you can make empowered decisions to disconnect from anything that isn't safe in terms of people or things that aren't aligned. So it's like you don't have to have your guard up. You don't have to have your back up. You can trust that the universe supports you. And the more you connect to your inner wisdom and your intuition and follow that and allow that to take you forward, the more you kind of connect to that love and support that's available to you. And then finally, we have, I am a vibrational match to all that I desire. So it's kind of like what you truly long for, right? Your dreams, your goals, the things that light you up, the things that the people, places, things that your soul calls you to do that just feels right, whether you can understand or justify it or logically explain it or not. You're connecting with it on that level because you are vibrating at the same frequency. It's a part of you, right? So it's like there are parts of you that you identify with that are outside of yourself, and recognizing that similar nature, it's just bringing the things that are meant for you and that are going to be beneficial for you into your external environment. So everything that you want is already yours. It's just a matter of recognizing that it's up to you to connect with it and to make the decisions that are ultimately going to take you in that direction. Oh, goodness. There's a lot of and I will say that with higher power here and your ability to kind of partner with spirit and have this kind of higher level of awareness and more information to use and moving in the direction of your highest good, there's a lot more opportunity for manifestation, because that level of alignment and being able to honor the guidance that's being given to you is a huge part of law of attraction. It's a huge part of manifestation. Okay, so let's get you one final oracle card to close off this reading. It's already getting long. Oh my goodness, Aquarius. Every time I'm trying to get you one card, and I say it again, there's a whole mess of cards that pop out. I just want one final oracle card, whatever is going to be most beneficial for you guys this month, so that we can get you one final piece of advice. Again, there's 2 cards. Oh my gosh. Okay. And I have been having a hard time with this oracle deck lately. This is the Work Your Light oracle, and I don't know if it's just that there are stubborn and very specific messages to come through, but this deck has left me shuffling. Okay, Inner Temple is the card that you got. It says devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. So I think that actually aligns really, really nicely with this higher power, right? Because like I said, you kind of have to be willing to take the time to connect to yourself, have a sacred space, meditate, check in with yourself in order to receive that insight that's available to you. So I'm just going to read directly from the book. It might just take me a moment to find the explanation because this one is a little challenging. Okay, Inner Temple. You are being called to be a devoted student and tune into your heart, to incorporate true devotion into your life. You could be called to develop a regular meditation, journaling, or chanting practice, or to show up to your soul with rhythm, to develop a daily practice where you fill up your well and spend time with your soul. All of the answers to all of the questions that you seek are waiting you in the portal of your heart, but you cannot hear them unless you carve out time each day to listen. Your soul is yearning for a deeper relationship with you, and so the more time you spend with it and show up to it, the more clearly it will guide you. We are here to grow as souls. Earth is one big playground for the soul to learn, and you are being called to go deeper into your soul growth or to increase your devotion by being a student of a lineage or spiritual teacher. If you have already been a committed student, then you are being commended for your devotion. Your guides want you to know how proud of you they are and that the time you spend in devotion is priceless. If you are questioning your career or life path, your guides want you to turn your focus toward devotion and this prayer. So the prayer is, please use me in a way that delights my mind, body, and soul. May my life be one big moving prayer. And the Work Your Light activation says, commit to a daily devotional practice. So yeah, that goes like really does go hand in hand with what I was saying about like intuition whispers, right? That information is available to you, but it's subtle. And if you don't have an existing relationship or level of awareness, and even if you do, it can still be difficult to tune into it. It's about recognizing that it's important and taking time to turn inward and be in a place, a state of mind, a state of being that is calm and receptive, so that when you ask yourself questions and you consider the things that are kind of question marks or that you're unsure of, you can be aware of the way that your heart responds. And I will share with you just one final thing. I know I've talked a lot, but there's a while back that my friend and I were doing like a retreat, like a wellness retreat, and the yoga teacher that we kind of like collaborated with, I guess, she was saying that when she's having a difficult time reconciling information or making decisions or figuring out what she wants to do, like if there's like a head and heart kind of thing, that she would take time to sit in meditation, and to kind of like calm herself and to like, so doing breath work, getting yourself grounded into your body so that you're not elevated in terms of like anxiety, anxious thoughts, that kind of stuff. And then she said she would ask herself a question, like I guess the easiest way to do it is like a yes or no kind of question. And then she would pay attention to the way her body responded, right? So if her body responded in like an anxious, worried, constricting kind of way where it felt heavy and kind of like oppressive, then that was a no for her. And then she said if it felt light and hopeful or exciting or, you know, energizing, or there was a lightness or even just a lack of heaviness or worry, she would take it as a yes. And so she's basically saying like your heart and your body have that wisdom, that it knows what's best for you, it knows what you want. So a lot of times we tend to logic our way out of decisions and say like, oh, I might not really want to do this, but I should do it. And we kind of guilt ourselves into doing things that don't necessarily serve us or align with what we're trying to do. So it's kind of like you can trust your inner wisdom. And if you take that time to get grounded and start paying attention to the way that your body reacts to certain stimuli, to certain questions, you will get a more authentic and intuitive answer. So it's kind of like being able to decode what's really going on. So that might be a practice for you guys to try. Anyways, Aquarius, I have talked your ear off enough, so I'm going to leave your reading here. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did like this reading, the best way to support me is to like this video on YouTube, leave me a comment. Beyond that, if there's anyone you could think of that might benefit from or be interested in my content, you can share my channel or my readings with them. And make sure, if you haven't already, that you pop over to my channel at Bright Soul Collective Tarot and ensure you're not only subscribed but signed up for notifications so that you can stay up to date on new readings as they're posted. I'm hoping this month might be the month that I can do a mid-month check-in. That remains to be seen. We'll see how it goes, but it's an absolute pleasure reading for you. I'm very much looking forward to reconnecting. So whether I see you again later this month or not until next month, I'm looking forward to it. And in the meantime, I'm wishing you all the very best.